Log Talk Radio.
This thing right here is for my peoples in the streets.
Yes, today. All right, welcome to another edition of RSG One Mic. We're in the building, back in our normal studio. We had a little bit of difficulty on StreamYard. We'll get back to that, but we're back in our studio here on the Zoom platform, ready to get into some important topics. It's going to be a fun-filled show, but it's also we're going to have some serious conversations as well as we go. As I always say, please go to realsportsguys.com and check out our content, check out other episodes of One Mic and all of our other shows we have on that platform, or you can catch us on any of our social media platforms and follow us as well. So look forward to engaging you and thank you for supporting us. All right, I'm gonna get in and introduce you to the members of this regime that we try to do here on the Sports Underground. Let me start with the youngin' out here, Darnell Kirkland Jr. I got to add the junior on there so I don't get a nasty text from your father. But how you doing, man? How's it going?
I'm doing good. Actually, today is seems like it's a year ago from the day where it seems like everything started going downhill for 2020. But yeah, it's a day of reflection. And on a positive note, over the weekend I had a really good time watching the championship game, the state championship games for state of Michigan. Michigan commit Donovan Edwards had an absolutely monster day. He had a 257-yard game on 14 carries and only 3 quarters. And after the game, his head coach Ron Bellamy accepted a job as a receivers coach at Michigan. So it was a fun weekend.
Yeah, Michigan trying to bring folks home out there on their coaching staff as well. So it's good to kind of see things going, but it's got to operate on the field. But like you said, this was a year ago today. It seemed like so much happened after this day that it was like a snowball that have us at this moment that we're at. We're spending a lot of our lives here on these kind of platforms, engaging each other, physical distancing, and all the other things that we've been dealing with. But it seemed like this kind of was a marker, and we'll definitely talk about that as well. What's up, Hammer? Hammer's over there, from the South Side, Chicago, here with us. How you doing, brother?
I'm safe and well, brother. That's the bottom line, man. At these times, so safe and well, and suited and booted. I had my Zoom meetings. I still gotta look the part, man. I gotta keep the camera on. I can't turn the camera off, so gotta look good.
I understand that.
So, yeah, gotta look smooth.
I definitely share that life with you. It seems like it's back-to-back meetings in our other life, so we understand.
Beats alternative, man. You ain't got meetings, you're not eating. So
that's it.
Yeah,
and our man who disappeared, who was in and out last week when we were on StreamYard, and while we are back here on Zoom, because we all tried to figure out who was going to do the mic drop. We had to rock, paper, scissors. I think Hammer ended up doing it. So my man Hank, how you doing, man? It seems like your connectivity is strong.
Yeah,
what's going on?
I'm doing real good after my show was sieged by some insurrectionalists that didn't want me to come on. I'm getting with that platform we did. I'm charging them with sedition of the show because I couldn't get on for nothing, and they seized up my internet. But I'm glad to be back with you guys. Another day, to talk. Another day to reflect. And it's all good, I don't look like I got epilepsy on my screen, so it's all good today.
All right, well, we're gonna jump into the open mic. There's a lot happening. This is where we kind of just do this, just tap into all kinds of things happening in the world of sports. And on Saturday, we saw the fall of Notorious, ConorMcGregor. All the money was on him. He went in there with my man Poirier from Lafayette, Louisiana, and in the second round took that LR on it, and it was just crazy to see him really be kind of in control of the fight for the most part. He was controlling distance, and all of a sudden, next thing I know, he's he's laying on his side, looking up. That's the one thing about UFC. Whatever can happen quick. They had a really good night, but I don't know if you had a chance to check it out or whatever. Maybe I'll hit you up, Darnell. We put this up here. Do you think Conor is gone? So, we see this in boxing. You get a taste of the good life, and can you get back to that grind? Can you be that guy anymore? Or is he really beyond this? Does he just need to be whoever he is in terms of the Conor McGregor and the broader image?
Well, we see it a lot of times. Marvin Hagler always said, it's tough to get up and run in the morning when you're waking up in silk pajamas. But yeah,
that's real.
I didn't watch this fight. I watched the knockout after it happened. I was watching Stephen Fulton versus Angelo Leo, which I'll tell you what, from right now, we're only in January, but I'll put money on it that is going to be in the running for the fight of the year. This was an old throwback fight to like the 1930s, like Homicide Hank, Henry Armstrong versus somebody of that ilk. When they're in the inside, they're fighting in the center of the ring. Nobody's taking a step back. They're just throwing constant punches for 12 straight rounds. Fulton was throwing he was averaging 100 punches a round, and it was a great fight because really Fulton is he's the boxer. We're not going to get too deep into it, but he's known as the slick Philly boxer, But as J-Rock told us, everybody from Philly know how to fight on the inside. And Stephen Fulton let us know that you thought he said what Zach Randolph told Boogie Cousins a few years ago. In my hood, bullies get bullied.
And I think that's what happened with Conor. And I think Conor was humble after the fight. I don't know if Hank or Carl, you had a chance to watch it, but
highlights. It's it. Highlights.
Huh?
Highlights. It's it. Highlights.
Yeah. It was and it was one of those things where right before the fight, I had done a little something on the fight, and I looked at Poirier and I'm like, I think he's gonna win. And I was trying to get back in to put a little pop money, and I couldn't do it. But I was like, he gotta look like he's gonna win. You can get that feeling, and he just did what he needed to do. And now what's interesting about it in that division, like boxing, it's you have an opportunity for a round robin. The difference between boxing and UFC, you actually can make it happen, right? It's you actually have the ability to set the fights and make some of these matchups happen. And so, what you have is you basically have an opportunity to have another semifinal with the opportunity to have a championship round. But, it's one of those things where you try to figure out whether or not someone like Conor can go to that next level. Can he regain it after he's kind of lost momentum? That's something that's going to be need to be explored. But from the highlights, what did you gather? What did you gather from what you heard about it? Hank, did you hear?
Yeah, I did. And here's the thing that when he took this fight, I was a little bit hesitant.
Yeah.
Because see, you got to be hungry to get in the ring.
Yeah.
Okay. And what we know about Conor McGregor is he's eating well. Okay. And
drinking too.
Huh?
Drinking well too.
Yeah. But the thing is, it's not all about just being in shape. There's got to be a hunger there. And like you said, Poirier, he looked hungry. Okay, and he showed it. And the thing about it is you can go in, but it's almost like that same adage of a championship team winning back-to-back championships. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, there's no big games. Mm-hmm. There's no big fights. You got to motivate yourself to motivate yourself. And when you get to that point, I don't care what kind of shape you are. I don't care who you used to be. If you're not starving to take out that opponent, if it's just another fight, you're prone to mistakes. You're prone to not get out of holes and stuff that you would have been looking to. And I think this is what's happened with Conor McGregor. Does he have to go back to rock bottom, or does he just become another name? There was something about that Mayweather fight, as much hype around it, and him getting knocked out, that brought him crashing back to earth. He has not been the same fighter. Same thing that happened with Ronda Rousey when she got clocked. Everything was way up there, meteoric. But once you get hit, once you lose that hunger, once you're not starving anymore, yes, it's over. Call it a day. Sorry it had to end this way.
Well, and we're going to see, I think one of the things that Conor fights against is, his stamina. And I felt like he was controlling that fight early on, but once he started getting them front leg kicks and they started taking away his.
But he's got to go early.
Yep,
he's got to take him out early. If that was going to go any distance, it's a wrap.
Yep, and that's kind of what folks were saying. Well, you can get through the first round and a half with Conor, you got a chance for him getting tired. And you see that also in boxing and stuff like that, where you have guys who are, if you can weather the storm over those first 3 rounds, can they find that?
Conor Kovalev.
Yep. That's Kovalev right there, all the way. If you don't
all
get to
the way, all inside the ring and outside the ring, Conor Kovalev. He get away with stuff that if it was Adrian Broner, it will be on the front page news.
That's right. But we'll get to that later. So we'll check out what's going on, Conor. I mean, UFC right now is hot. They had some great lineups in there, and they figured out how to have fans there. They got the whole Fight Island thing going. They are on their stuff and making it happen. All right, we're going to turn a little attention to basketball. Obviously, we were able to get Kyrie back there in Brooklyn. They had a couple of slips there, but they're trying to hit their stride a little bit here. The question is, do they have enough to challenge those Lakers if they come out the West? Hammer,
no.
Huh?
No.
Hammer with the short response. We'll go on to the next one. Hammer has quickly said no. All right, we'll move on. Would you like to elaborate, or you just no?
Yeah, I'll elaborate on it totally. I think you already saw their Achilles heel losing to Cleveland twice in a row. Their defense is pathetic. And I think that LeBron's going to run them out the gym. So I think they'll probably win the East because the Bucks have shown just another Achilles heel as far as not being able to shoot the basketball consistently and also inconsistent play. But the bottom line is that, I think they have the East, but they're gonna get run out as far as LeBron goes. I mean, LeBron was King James last night. He just killed it last night. So, and I think that they just have the depth. I saw him against my Bulls kill him. AD destroyed us 37. So I just think the Lakers look like they're gonna repeat unless they have any injuries, and I just don't trust the lack of defense of the Nets. I don't think they can outscore everybody in the association. There's too much talent. So I don't believe that. So.
All right. How do you feel, Hank, about
I do believe that they can give the Lakers a run. And here's why. It's early. What we see all the time, we don't get fooled by fool's gold of the regular season. This happens all the time. This team hasn't nearly gelled yet. We've just got through going through the Peyton place of Kyrie Irving even wanting to come back to play basketball. All right, so now there still has to be a little bit of cohesiveness that needs to be done with this team. You got KD now playing and Kyrie, the rest of that team. And people fail to forget, people fail to remember that Brooklyn was giving people fits for a minute, okay? Without the superstars, they was giving people fits. It was a gritty team. And it was picking up fans simply on that. And last time I checked, a lot of that roster is still there, plus KD and Kyrie. That's what they need. These guys got to have time to gel. The playoffs haven't started yet. We got a long way to go. And in my opinion, you can't judge what you see right now. You can't judge a January game and think that that's going to translate to a June game. Okay, because we've seen teams get run out the gym. It's like all of a sudden you start getting down to crunch time, and that's not the team that we just ran out the gym 2 months ago. So you have to look at what you see on paper of their ability to gel as a team. And I think just given the players on that team, they can give the Lakers fits. Not now, obviously, but in a 7-game series, I think they could give them. I mean, look at what Miami did with a lesser roster. Okay. And you got two guys that you got to account for. You got to account for them. They get that chemistry together, yes. they can get fit. So yeah, I agree. I don't see anybody in the East that's going to challenge them, but I think that is one team that's going to it would make for a fun series, fun finals.
All right, Darnell, how you feel about that? Do you think they need to make some moves?
Well, this team looks. It gives me flashbacks of 2010 Miami Heat. The team's just not filled out to the level it needs to be. I think there is some tweaks they can make. Bruce Brown needs to play a lot more. I'd take Jeff Green out the lineup and put starting lineup and put Bruce Brown there because he brings that defensive intensity that they need. But also they need a big. They need rim protection. DeAndre Jordan, right now he looks like he's past it. He's not the same defender that he used to be. They need another piece or two. Shoot, I'd bring John Teskey. I'd take a flyer on him over some of the because I don't even think they have another 7-footer other than DeAndre Jordan on the team. So
they let Allen go. So yeah. So.
Yeah, I think
not even 7 feet. He's 6'10", 6'11". Yep.
Yeah,
6'11",
and I think you're hitting on to something in terms of thinking about Jordan, and if Jordan could play the role that Howard played for the Lakers last year, where he could come in and give them veteran spot times and not really be that focal point, that changes them a lot. That gives them some stuff, and it gives them an opportunity to defend. And KD's a willing defender as well, and he's contested at the rim, and he's been able to be on that backline defense. So, but he's kind of rounding in the shape.
Yeah, he's coming back from that Achilles, so you can't necessarily ask of him the same like defensive responsibilities they had when he was with the Warriors and when his latter stages of OKC, he was looking like a great rim protector. But at the end of the day, I don't know how willing he's going to be to try to contest all these shots at the rim on while he's still recovering from that Achilles. So you might need a guy to protect the rim. I would look into seeing what would it take to get a guy like JaVale McGee, or just it doesn't have to be like a superstar, just a guy who can run and jump and be tall, I guess.
Yeah,
that's what
they need a junkyard dog, who can get those loose balls and keep that energy going. And then they also got to figure out how to, their scoring, get some of the other guys involved in the offense more. I think they're going to be working on that. You got some guys that you got to make sure are also getting touches. And so, and that's going to be important when you're playing against the Lakers, is getting a few of those other guys in. And then also figuring out which one of the big three is going to lead the second unit. And I heard I like this idea of, even Kyrie being that person leading the second unit. Yeah,
it's Kyrie. I believe it should be Kyrie because James Harden, he's the de facto point guard. They might pencil Kyrie in as point guard, but he's not the point guard. Yeah. James Harden's the point guard. And then when James Harden goes to the bench, now it's Kyrie's time. You know what I'm saying? You give KD a rest, and you theoretically you could have one of the big three on the court at all times. And that's something to be reckoned with. Even if they don't have a whole bunch of depth, you can always have one of the top 5 or 6 best scorers in the league on the court at all times.
All right, so we're gonna switch to some of this NFL, and the question is, did Green Bay choke, or did the GOAT in the Bucs take what is rightfully theirs? Was it just Tom Brady saying, "I'm taking my stuff home. I don't care where we're playing"?
I'll tell you,
there's a lot of chatter on here. Darnell, you seem to be lighting up like you ready to go. You look at that Green Bay Bucs, like, what is it? Everybody's talking about the decision on 4th down. What do you attribute the loss for Green Bay to?
I tell you what, if it was anything, it was definitely not no Tom Brady. Well, if you watch the second half, this man threw like 3 picks. I know one of them wasn't his fault. Mike Evans, it went off his hand. But they won that game in spite of Tom Brady. Their defense balled. They have guys that guys like Shaq Barrett, JPP, Dominican Sue was in there. Vontae David, number 33. I keep forgetting his name. The safety was absolutely going in that first half. The way
Edwards.
No, Edwards is 32, right? With the
32. Okay, well, I'm trying to think.
33, the guy that got injured with his shoulder. He forced 2 fumbles, 2 big fumbles. Well, one was recovered, and the second one, the Bucks got so that defense came up big, made a lot of big plays. I saw Leonard Fournette made a great play as well. It's not just
Spin
great.
move, yeah.
The
Spin
Bucks,
move,
yeah, the Bucks as a team, I would say it's more of them taking the game than Packers giving it away. Even though if I was the Packers, I would have done things differently. Like on that last drive, I wouldn't have taken the 3. I would have tried to go get that touchdown to try to put us to tie the game, because if you're going against a guy like Brady and the Bucks, it's going to be tough to get that ball back, and you can't be sure that you're going to get another chance at it.
Yeah, and it felt like the Bucks had a 12th man, King, the defensive back for Green Bay. See, that's where cultural bias gets you in trouble. Assuming that somebody can't run past you because they got another complexion.
4-3 speed, but
Yeah, didn't read the scouting report.
Probably can't read it.
Like Patton took a page out of Brown's defensive playbook at Michigan, and it was almost like he had an out of body Brown experience there on that final play. I'm like, before the snap? I'm like, what are they doing defensively? Like, don't they know how much time's on the clock? Before I get out of my mouth, that boy was like, Choop. He was gone. I said, man, that's some cultural bias, because they would have never, if that would have been AB, they'd have been off 10 yards. Even though this guy's faster than AB. See, we got to come to the 90s a little bit. I mean, from the 90s and get into the 2000s and understand that speed comes from everywhere. But Hank, let me get you to the table on this. When you look at that Green Bay game and you look at the key points, what's going on there. And Hammer, I'm just going to talk to you about the future, because you up here in Wisconsin. So you've been listening to word on the street. So
I had people hitting me up talking about they want LaFleur out. Like,
yeah, see, we'll
at night.
get to you, but let's start with Hank and then we'll come over to Hammer, because we want to get that local knowledge.
Let me tell you something, okay? Now, I know how many over here, show a hand, who picked Tampa Bay to go to the Super Bowl?
I did. I picked them to win.
You picked them to win the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And what was your reason why? For the defense?
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady. Let me tell you something.
And the weapons.
Youngin said something that a lot of people said, and it just blows my mind. Oh, they won that game in spite of Tom Brady. They won that game because of this. They won that game. They won that game because of Tom Brady. And let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. Get out the X's and O's. Listen to me. Listen to me. You're going to learn something tonight. Why is Tampa Bay a Super Bowl champion, a Super Bowl team? Because of Tom Brady. Because they put a team around Tom Brady. They went and got Leonard Fournette. They went and got some of these players to play around Tom Brady. Number one. Number two, you had a quarterback that's been to the Super Bowl 9 times going into this game. Okay. How many more championship games did they didn't get there? All right. You got a guy who's got a championship pedigree, which impacts the locker room. The locker room. No, he did not have a solid second half. The defense stepped up. We've seen Tom Brady do this in his career time and time again. He went into Pittsburgh. They weren't the best team. They come out with the AFC Championship. And time again, it was the Tom Brady experiment early on that they put a team around this man, okay? And now that they've gelled and his championship experience paid off, they went into Green Bay. And by the way, I didn't get a chance to talk about it. The game against the Rams, Green Bay looked like world beaters, okay? They looked like they were the team they was going to steamroll to the Super Bowl. They looked that good. They spanked the Rams. Now they come into Tom Brady, the GOAT. Old GOAT, greatest of all time, whatever you want to say. But that they won and they're going to Super Bowl because of Tom Brady, because of the commitment that the Buccaneers put a team on the field around that pedigree Super Bowl championship caliber quarterback. And that's why they're going.
Wait, are we talking about this game? We talking about the whole season?
We're talking about this team. We're talking about this game. Everything
Sunday night.
Everything
They win
culminated
because
into
of
that
Tom
game.
Brady.
Hold on,
No,
we
they
both
didn't
can't
win
talk at
that
the
game
same
because of
time.
Tom Brady.
We both can't talk at the same time. Listen, I'm telling you right now, what Tom Brady brought, they were up, they had scored 28 first half points. You gonna tell me that they're not thinking about that? Your opponent thinks about what you got on the other side, and when you start to perform a little bit, that gets in their head. Come on, y'all know this. Y'all don't play this, y'all don't play the game. Y'all got somebody out there. When Michael Jordan step on the court, I don't care if he's 50. Okay? If he starts to perform, that starts to take a toll. And if he got a team around him, now you start to press a little bit. And that's what we saw on Sunday. That's why they're going back to the Super Bowl. Now you can throw the X's and O's and the stats all you want to, Pierre, Paul, and everything, but Leonard Fournette, he like you said, he had a great run, but nobody was kicking and screaming to get Leonard Fournette last year. Okay, he came here, and all of a sudden now, he's going to the Super Bowl. There's a mindset that goes on with this, not just the X's and O's, and Tom Brady brings that.
All right, Hammer, locally, you said they're trying to already get rid of LaFleur.
Yeah, man. I had text people want to fire LaFleur yesterday, crying. Yeah, I mean it's the only game in town. The Packers. The thing about, it is coming to the state, love Wisconsin, but the one thing culturally, sports-wise, that stunned me is just like these people. The whole state is for a team, and I've never seen. I'm a city dude. I'm a Chi-Town guy. So just the mindset blew me away initially. Like I used to call out cats. I'm like, y'all in Milwaukee should be Bears fans. Y'all closer to Chicago than you are to Green Bay. So, why y'all? Now I knew about some of the history related to, County Stadium and all that. But but getting back to your first question, as far as it goes, it was a combination of both. Brady played great first half. He really took advantage of Kevin King's, horrible defense and Pettin's scheme, and he did a great job. I mean, he threw some really great passes. Second half, he had 3 picks, but a couple of those picks were basically punts. They didn't hurt the Bucks, and so the defense took over. JPP, Shaq Barrett, the Bakhtiari injury really showed. And so, bottom line is you got to the end part why, a lot of Packer fans want LaFleur gone. You got to go for it on fourth down. It showed no confidence in the offense. Offense that worked at on a premium level all year. Devontae Adams there, Tanyan there. Even though Jones was out, you could have design a play for Williams. It showed. I mean, this guy's supposed to be an offensive genius, supposedly. So, he couldn't design a play. So, it just made no sense. I mean, you had to really, and you were counting on a defense to stop. They didn't stop all game. So, it makes no sense. So, I'm not calling for LaFleur yet. I think that's ridiculous. But, I think, again, people are upset about, as far as the future of Aaron Rodgers. People got to remember this. He has a dead cap hit of like $39 million next year. So the Packers going to try. You saw when LaFleur was even told about Rodgers not coming back. You saw his histrionic response. He's like, "Oh, he's going to come back. He's the leader of our team." So yeah, because they know. I mean, you got with dead cap hits with Bakhtiari, who might not come back till the end of next year because that injury, and Aaron Rodgers, you got like $70 million of dead cap money. So, you could trade for 10 first-round draft picks, and you're not going to get the equity that you're going to get based on the money. And remember, Green Bay is not owned by Shad Khan. They're owned by the fans. And so that's one thing where, Favre was talking about. I saw Favre, and I agree. I think Rodgers going to stay there. Jordan Love ain't beating him out. Jordan Love can't beat out Tim Boyle. So he ain't beating out. Yeah, real talk. He can't beat out Tim Boyle, man, brother. He looked nice and good in his warm-ups, But, in Packerland here, people are very upset. They're indignant. It's real. If LaFleur walked down State Street right now, despite the pandemic, cats would come out try to get in his face. So yeah, it's just real here. Sundays in Wisconsin, man, is the best time to grocery shop because everybody at home.
It's right.
So
yep.
I mean, real talk. If you ain't a Packer fan, even before the pandemic, you want to get your shop on, clothes, groceries, the 9. Yeah, you pick Sunday at 12 o'clock. You in. You got your pick of everything because that's the only game in town. Like 70% ratings, but. Yeah, the guy get Pet's gotta go. I mean, there's rumors that Jim Leonard's gonna be DC, which would be interesting. I would rather go with somebody experienced than Leonard, but we'll see. The guy get, I think Aaron Jones played his last game as a Packer. Dylan's gonna take over, and they'll get another back, cheaper back. And also, I think that the guy get another weapon, and a veteran weapon. I mean, they obviously they wanted to draft Jordan Love to secure the future like they did, 15 years ago with Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre. But I think that they need a veteran receiver. There are receivers out there that I think would complement Devontae and really accentuate the run game, the pass game, and help Rodgers. I think that's one thing that showed kind of LaFleur at the end that I think if they had another weapon, they would have gone for on fourth down. But even though I understand the rationale, I don't agree with it. But when you have MBS is your number 2, come on, man. Dude can't catch the ball. And then you had what's brother Lazard or Brown pass. I mean, somebody dropped the ball. So again, like I said, they got one great receiver, Devontae. Tanyan's good.
The rookie is the one that dropped the ball.
Oh, who now?
The rookie, I forgot his name.
Oh, okay, yeah. The brother.
Number 11.
Yeah, number 11. Yeah, so he dropped the ball. So So the bottom line is that, ball was right in his hand. So. Yeah, so so that's the main thing from Packerland. That's what's happening. I think that again, you gotta give Tom. I disagree with Youngin. You gotta give Tom Brady his props. But yeah, he had subpar second half, but you wouldn't have had a game before Tom Brady killing it in the first half. So he set the table, and then the defense closed out. JPP, Shaq Barrett, great scheme by Bowles. That's one thing they didn't talk about. Bowles totally outmaneuvered LaFleur. So totally outmaneuvered LaFleur. Ain't nobody looking for him for a head coaching job, and he deserves one. He got a bad rap, and again, like I said before, I give Bruce Arians credit. Unlike some black coaches in the NFL, I won't call him out this week like I did last week. You got 3 brothers who he has connections with who are special teams coordinator, OC, and DC. Guys that he brought up, 3 brothers going to the Super Bowl in the brain trust. And the black coaches that are in the league right now got none. I won't mention names, like I said, because you called me out. But you know what I'm talking about.
We'll get to that topic later. But
now he wants to interview Pep Hamilton. Like I told you, now he wants to interview Pep Hamilton. You know what I'm talking about. I won't call him out. I respect to you. But I
don't know about Pep, but we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, I don't know about that either. I don't think Pep's like that either. But at least he's interviewing him. I can give him credit.
One of the things that I want to talk about that you have to watch going to the Super Bowl, that the hold by King was a hold, but the Bucs defensive backs hold all the time.
They do, yeah. They weren't calling it.
And everything else, and right in front of the referees. You got to watch that in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Call for a
They'll
couple.
Be tighter. They'll be tired in the Super Bowl. They let them go ahead. They let him go ahead, DeVar now. Go ahead, speak, bro.
Yeah. No, all I was gonna say was I like the way that game was officiated. I love when they let them play. But yeah, that last play was just too obvious.
I did for 3 quarters, but you all of a sudden you gonna now start throwing flags in the 4th quarter? Come on, man. I mean, yeah. I mean, play if you let them scrap, let them scrap for 4 quarters.
Yeah.
And we know it was a penalty, but there were tons of penalties and then the one thing about it was like Joe Buck gave the referees a cue. It's like we've had no penalties the whole game.
Yeah.
I was like, now we're gonna have penalties. Watch. That was like a cue to the NFL, like start calling some penalties.
Yeah.
That's what they did because they were scrapping out there. And in fact, what Brady was able to get some good touchdowns because he just threw it up and, cats were holding and stuff like that. But yeah, it didn't matter. And Kevin King, like I said, he's running himself out the league, literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So we're gonna move on. I was gonna talk about the Pro Bowl, but I just can't do it, man.
No, I'll talk about it quickly. That's the most asinine proposal ever. You were in the middle of a pandemic. You're trying to play a Pro Bowl? Come on, man. I mean, you got to play essential games. And essential games is not the Pro Bowl. So I mean, again, that's just greed. Where they want another showcase. They want to. But this is a real virus. Like I said before, obviously these are young, healthy guys. But there's some like we talked about Karis LeVert. Like we got a brother in a private career.
Yeah.
Had cancer that if they didn't catch it, could metastasize and kill the brother.
Yep.
So even though we got some of the best athletes in the league, these guys are not. They're human.
They're human.
Yeah. So to call for a Pro Bowl is just like I said, tone deaf and just ridiculous. I saw that and I was like, really?
Yeah. So I'm not gonna get too much deeper. I think the point is well made and. For something I don't know if I watched the Pro Bowl. I don't know how many years. So
I haven't watched either. Yeah, it's trash.
I like the skills competitions more than the actual Pro Bowl.
I ain't like that.
When they did dodgeball a couple years ago, when they did the hands competition.
I tried to watch part of that, man, but I want to see real football, bro. I mean, I can't do it. I watched, like I said, before the pandemic, I'd watch every game. I'd be up in a sports bar, watch every game. Every Sunday, like I said before, and so I'm used to watching football all the time. I'm watching football, the Pro Bowl. That's we
gave it a little bit more time. I think we should have given it. So
okay, sorry.
Look, Major League Baseball today is supposed to announce Hall of Fame, and got to the podium and said no.
Zero.
Who gets nothing?
Like they say, goose eggs.
We had a build up. We had a show. I'm sitting here watching it. They got little profiles on everybody who's now eligible and everything else. You start leaning up and all that stuff. You got Brian Kenny and the guy from the Hall of Fame standing next to the podium. I'm like, oh, we're about to talk about something. And he got up there and in 2 seconds said, nobody.
Well, should be. Unless you want a Hall of Shame. I mean, there's no
Hall of Shame.
He wants a Hall of Shame. I mean, we have a Hall of Fame, not Hall of Shame.
Hall of Fame and character. I was like, they haven't been paying attention to that character thing. There were some people up in there who, it's been interesting. So obviously, Kurt Schilling is also a lightning rod. He had 71%.
71%. Yeah, he probably get in.
Bonds and Clemens was 61.
They ain't getting in.
There was some thought though about the Bonds and Clemens one that there might be a thought. So one of the things I heard him talking about, I don't know if you heard that, part of the pushback was you still have to honor Jeter in that class, and it's seen probably as this remaining pristine class, right? And not wanting to then muddy it up with having some of these folks who are much more controversial, so folks held back in what that they might come back that next year and maybe vote for a Schilling and possibly even a Bond. I think there's some momentum beginning to push a little bit on that. What do y'all think? If you were to put your bet on Clemens or Bond, who do you think has the momentum of being maybe getting in? They got one.
None of them. They're not going to get none of them because the baseball writers are old school and not going to have the Hall of Shame. To put Clemens and Bonds, it would be a Hall of Shame, basically. Especially considering the context of Hank Aaron's death. The real home run champion is Hank Aaron. That's the first thing I want to tell people. Not Barry Bonds. I don't want to hear that mess. Barry Bonds should be disqualified. He should have zero. Let's get. And so the real home run champion passed away last week.
Hall of Famer.
Great man. Who
is there any argument?
But I don't want you to see Barry Bonds the same sentence with Hank Aaron.
Let me ask you a question. Pre-98, is there any question Barry Bonds is Hall of Famer?
No, but there was post 98.
So unlike Clemens, there might be some suggestion of, I don't know how much of his career, but Bonds has a body of work that everybody is universally agreed on that was pretty clean. That puts him in the Hall of Fame. I don't understand how you keep him out. Now I understand about the home run piece.
He chose to cheat. That's why.
But
he didn't need to cheat. That's why it's even more egregious. The guy had Hall of Fame talent and was so greedy that he wanted to he was he went from Flash to Superman.
Was he ever definitively shown that he cheated other than all the speculation?
Nah, but I mean, come on, man.
No.
You can see. I'm trying went from like skinny to like thick as a man. He had no neck.
But I think there's a case for Bonds, and I think more and more people are coming in on it.
There's a case for all of them. I'm just telling you that the writers are not putting Barry Bonds in the Hall of Fame because.
All right, Hank, let me hear what you got to say. We heard Hammer's position is clear. What's your position?
Well, I think one of the things that I heard some of the analysts say after that I watched that same program was that Kirk Schilling pretty much talked himself out of the Hall of Fame, with all of that controversy and foolishness that he's been doing. But see, my take is different. See, because I think the fact that Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens is not in the Hall of Fame is one of the greatest hypocrisies of Major League Baseball. Because see, when baseball basically crapped its own bed several years ago and had the World Series be canceled because of a labor dispute, and people were sick of the sport, and then all of a sudden the Chick Loves the Long Ball campaign came out, and all of these guys and the great home run race between Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire basically put baseball back on the map. When you had steroid brokers walking around Major League Baseball locker rooms and everybody looked the other way, when you had a whole generation of baseball players that was on the juice, and now all of a sudden these same individuals that watched all of this go on and watched this what they want to call this cheating resurrect this sport, their great sport that nobody was going to until people started hitting 60, 70 home runs a year. Now they want to vilify Barry Bonds simply because he's not a likable guy in the press. That's one of the main reasons. He is a legitimate Hall of Famer. Now, because he was allowed to because he was such a superhuman athlete, even before he started juicing, and yeah, he was juicing. His head is big as my tires on my car. I'm not saying that he didn't get caught, but my point is valid. That he came in, he changed a lot of things in baseball. Now, they don't want to put him in because they want to hide the dirty little secret that they allow all across baseball. Okay. There's a baseball player named Brady Anderson that played with the Baltimore Orioles.
Yeah, he has 57 home runs one year.
Brady Anderson did the same thing that everybody else did. Okay. It happened across baseball. It just so happened to happen to one of the best players in the league, bar none, prior to 98, and he broke some sacred records. Period. That's all. Okay.
That's all, Hank. That's all,
that's all. Because baseball,
disrespecting the game, man. That's all.
But baseball's always had people taking with us amphetamines. People have always been doing it.
Yeah, man, almost lost his life for a record, and you're gonna equate it to a guy who cheated?
Baseball.
Come on.
Taking amphetamines was cheating?
They did allow it. There's no question about it. But I mean, you didn't have to do it. Other people weren't juicing.
But baseball.
You wasn't juicing. Well, you don't talk about amphetamines. You can't compare amphetamines to.
I'm not talking about.
Are you taking an enhancement? It's not degrees. Are you taking it for or not?
That's like comparing. That's like comparing apples to oranges.
All that's irrelevant.
Why are you taking it?
All of it is irrelevant. It's all irrelevant. Okay, it was done. Baseball allowed it until they didn't. Okay, they allowed it until they didn't. So now what they want to do is vilify the guys that put the game back on the map. That's what I'm talking about. So if you want to give it the steroid era, you want to put asterisks around the records, be it as it may. But Roger Clemens, Barry Bonds changed baseball. They helped bring baseball back. They deserve to be Hall of Famers. Period. Baseball is in its whole entirety is responsible for the steroid era, not Barry Bonds, not Roger Clemens by themselves. They should not be a martyr for it. That's my point.
All right. This is good stuff. We got hot. We're gonna come back to this stuff anyway. What you gonna say?
Hey, I'm gonna say, like Mike Tomlin said, we don't care. This is like this is akin to me when Terrell Owens didn't get voted in for the Hall of Fame. They trying to say, oh, he's not likable, so we're not gonna let him be first ballot.
That's a terrible comparison.
You don't vote.
That's a terrible comparison.
Or as soon as you vote,
that's a terrible. T.O. was one of the best.
Then
terrible.
I don't care about you at the end of the day. But
I know you don't care. Y'all youngins don't respect the game of baseball.
I want to rebut what Carl said. He was like, he didn't have to take steroids.
He didn't have to, yeah.
When you look into the mind of a great, you have to, because at the end of the day, you see when you're Barry Bonds, you see Mark McGwire, you see Sammy Sosa. These guys are clearly juicing, and they're starting to surpass you. And now in your mind, you're saying, all right, let me show you who the GOAT is. If you're Barry Bonds, you said, let me show you how great I am, and then he did. I mean, that's just what it was. That's he's a victim of the time. That's the circumstance.
Show how great that juice was. That's what we show how great the steroids. Steroids are tremendous.
That's just like with the founding fathers when they always say, oh, you can't judge them based on the standards.
I can. They were slave owners and rapists. Yeah, I judge them. Yeah, like I said, two wrongs don't make a right, brothers. And we know. I know that baseball was complicit in. And they should be ashamed of themselves as well. But the bottom line,
baseball's history is messed up.
Totally agree too. You got Cobb and all that. But the thing that really blows me away is that you have Hank Aaron who almost died for a record, who had FBI agents guarding him, who passed away probably could live longer, knowing the stress he was under, and had to hide himself from getting killed. And this cheating, arrogant, Barry Bonds beat out his record. So yeah, I have problems with that, and for that context. And I don't want to see Barry Bonds Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Shame. If the baseball wants to make a Hall of Shame, put Canseco in there, put Barry Bonds, put Schilling,
should not be in the same
put what's his
Put Buzz Selig in there.
What you say? He's
Selig as well. Yeah, put Selig, Bowie Kuhn. Put them in there.
Every ownership group in baseball.
Well, yeah, most of the owners should be in except for George. I love me some Steinbrenner, but he got convicted, so I mean he should be a Hall of Shame too. But yeah, the Hall of Fame is Hall of Fame.
Well, we want to thank baseball for finally recognizing the Negro League. All right, we'll keep on moving. Yeah. We will move on to. We will move on to the Cipher and Hammer. Thank you for setting it up. We'll spend this time to actually, remember, Hammer and Hank Aaron. When we think about Milwaukee Braves and then the Atlanta Braves, it kind of the connection to some of us who are up here in Wisconsin. And we want to talk a little bit about Kobe as we work towards the end of this. But Hammer, why don't we continue down that line? I mean, you kind of introduced us out of that other topic, but let's situate it here in the Cipher in terms of what Hank Aaron meant to you as someone who loves baseball.
Hank Aaron was a class act. Hank Aaron was a great ambassador for baseball. Hank Aaron affected not only the Atlanta area, but Milwaukee, and also y'all know Eau Claire, Wisconsin. One of the first places he played minor league baseball, where a place where they protected the brother, even though it was a racist area. It still is now. So the main thing is that Hank Aaron was just a phenomenal ambassador game. That's why young student, when Barry Bonds was approaching the record, I became angry every day he got close to it, because you can laugh all you want to because you don't respect the elders, bro. Except for you need to put Junior.
Elders, but also I grew up on.
You don't respect because you would understand. You understand that Hank Aaron, when he hit the home run, I know you've seen this before. When the guy jumped on the field, They thought this guy was going to kill him. And it was some drunk, white brother who, remember the guy ran the field acting crazy? They're going to shoot him. But they realized he wasn't. But no, again, with Hank Aaron, a class act, a man that, you saw the tributes from Governor Evers, Governor Doyle, around the state, the nation. They ain't going to do that when Barry Bonds passed away. I guarantee that. So, so that's the thing about it that, there's some things that's been debunked as far as people think it's COVID vaccine killing. It's not the case. That the causes. But yeah, again, Hank Aaron, somebody I really looked up to, even though Willie Mays has always been my favorite baseball player of all time and is the greatest by far. But Hank Aaron, like I said before, that record, the fact that people wanted to kill him because he had the nerve to be a white man's record, and the fact he had to play the Negro League to start off with, just tremendous career, tremendous life, and then gave back to the community as well. And Barry Bonds ain't done nothing but for himself. And so, like I said before, I don't want to see Barry Bonds in any type of Hall of Fame baseball. If they put him in the Hall of Fame,
hey, we're supposed to be.
All right, we're trying to remember.
I remember. Let me put it in positive context. He was tremendous class act. You saw people who, when he was in our great home state 14 years ago, campaigned for my governor, former governor, Governor Doyle, and like I said, it was bipartisan. It was across lines because people love it. If you're a conservative Republican, liberal Democrat, you believe in Hank Aaron, and so that's the type of impact he provided to Wisconsin, Atlanta, the nation, the world, and his chase of the record. Like I said, I didn't really understand. My late father showed me the profoundness of the fact that how he chased the record. And like I said, I just knew about the record, but I didn't know what he went through, how he had to sleep with FBI agents and, with them guarding him, and other things like that. I always come out the right way. We got a lot of dirty minds, show. And so, the bottom line is that brother Henry Aaron, tremendous man, long life, unlike sadly Kobe Bryan, who was gone too soon. And the main thing about it, like I said, the one thing that puts things in perspective about his legacy compared to today's breaking news as far as Hall of Fame is that we know when these other people are gone, ain't nobody gonna be but their family. The family might not even be. Shoot, let's just be real about it. They might not even. They'd be like, good. Where's insurance money? But they ain't saying about Hank Aaron. People cried. People put pictures on there. People talked about how they affected their lives and how he was a young man. How the governor talked about how he went to Plymouth, Wisconsin, and he used to sign autographs for the kids. No money, not like Pete Rose, another crook who shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. So that's the main thing. But yeah, I've gone too far.
Let's go over to the young. Let's bring the youth into the youth movement before we go to Hank.
All right. So even from the time when I was young, I grew up on ESPN Classic. That was one of my things. Those are my cartoons, really, when I was a little kid. I used to watch the home run derbies with Harmon Killebrew and all those cats. Hank Aaron was obviously a great figure. The things that he had to endure were on par with guys like Muhammad Ali, guys like Bill Russell, and the likes of those guys. So just hearing of his passing, I know they said natural causes and stuff and stuff like that, but it's sad to hear because just sad to see like a legend go. But I just wanted to pay my respects. That's why I suggested this to the rundown. But yeah,
all right, we knew we were going to do it. We'll end with Hank on reflections on Hank Aaron.
Listen, Hank Aaron embodied greatness. His whole career embodied greatness. he was the last of the classic baseball, one of the last greats of the classic baseball era, starting with the Milwaukee Braves, and then moving to Atlanta. It wasn't so much that what you see in baseball right now, where these guys are hitting these bombastic 55, 60 home run seasons. Hank Aaron hit maybe 40 home runs, 44 home runs a year, just consistently. And when in the golden age of baseball, I'm talking about when the black players were able to start to play. When you had an all-star game and you had players on your all-star team like Hank Aaron and Willie Mays and Roberto Clemente were all on that team. That was what I call the golden age of baseball. I'm probably the only one here that can remember that date back in the 1973. I think it was 1973 when he broke the record. He number 44. Hank Aaron came to the plate, I think in the second inning, and Al Downing for the Los Angeles Dodgers, also number 44, a black pitcher, threw the pitch to Hank Aaron, who hit the ball out of the park at Fulton County Stadium. And two white dudes ran on the field as he rounded second base. And they thought that they were going to attack him. Actually, what they were doing was congratulating him. That was home run number 714. He beat Babe Ruth 713, okay? 715, and Babe Ruth had 714. He ended up with 755 home runs. I'm probably the only one here that can say I actually saw Hank Aaron play. As a young man, my father took me to Tiger Stadium. This is when he had left the Atlanta Braves to finish his career with the Milwaukee Brewers, in which the Detroit Tigers played a doubleheader at Tiger Stadium, which is now gone. And Hank Aaron came up, and I remember, I won't ever forget. I don't think I maybe been 10, 11 years old, but I won't ever forget. Every time Hank Aaron came to the plate, those fans at Tiger Stadium stood up, gave him a standing ovation. And they stood there and they stayed standing until he batted. He hit a long fly ball to left field, and the fans in Detroit were going crazy. You thought you was in Milwaukee. It was caught at the wall, and the fans in Detroit booed, okay? Because Hank Aaron didn't send it out of the park at Tiger Stadium. We all came to see it, but I got a chance to see him live. It was a great loss for the baseball family. But I'm telling you right now, and in this I will echo Hammer's sentiment. Hank Aaron will always be the true home run king.
I hear that. And sometimes real records and real stuff really lie with the people. The people at the end of the day determine who gets the hype, and the people are always going to embrace him in terms of where he fits in terms of the history of baseball. And even in the middle of a pandemic, the number of folks who showed out and dignitaries who were part of that ceremony tell you a lot about how you walk through and lead life beyond the game. And he definitely was that person. And then as the youngin said, a lot of our lives changed a year ago today. We all were like thinking that the messages that we were getting were just, it wasn't real. Somebody was joking. I was like, I had to verify. I was like, somebody messed up. And when we learned that the helicopter went down and we lost Kobe Bryan at 41 and his daughter, Gigi, it was hard. And it seemed like, I think, like Darnell said, it seemed like things began to roll from there. And it was just, we talking about Hank Aaron, but, it felt like Kobe was just kind of getting his ground on what he was going to do. Like, it almost felt like his post-basketball life was going to be bigger. I mean, he already had an Oscar. He was beginning to kind of shape into, what he wanted to do to kind of impact the world. I felt like I was really looking forward to that part of his life, even more so than what he did as a player. Darnell, why don't we start with you? Because probably could think Kobe's impact, as a young person, you probably felt it up close and personal ways that we probably can't really understand.
Yeah, this show last year was without a doubt my worst show of the whole year, because we did the show the day Kobe died, and I didn't want to talk to anybody. I mean, I didn't want to come on the show I didn't want to say nothing. It was one of those days. But yeah, Kobe. My first basketball memory ever was Kobe. The 2001 NBA Finals was my first basketball memory ever. Kobe was always my favorite player from growing up until pretty much until when I was in high school. Chris Paul was around and he became one of my favorites as well. But I was always a big Kobe guy. So tagging on to what you were saying about his post-career stuff, I was really interested in that. I used to watch his attention to detail, that he used to do on ESPN.com, the videos he used to do, the breakdowns. I used to watch all of those. He was really great at that. He was a big ambassador for the X's and O's and the just breaking down the sport. And like you always talk about the elders and stuff. He had planned on doing like a breakdown and stuff about Bill Russell and doing like a whole like deep dive into like Bill Russell and the old Celtics teams, and we missed out on stuff like that. And just like the great basketball mind that Kobe Bryant was. I don't want to, take that away from like, who he was as a person, but like the world really lost a great basketball mind because he was the guy that the young guys would go to. You'd see Trae Young at the Mamba Sports Academy. You would see Jaylen Brown. You would see Jason Tatum. You would see Kawhi Leonard. You would see Kyrie Irving. You see the who's who of the young stars in the game. They all looked up to him, and that's the influence that Hank was talking about with Hank, not Hank. Carl was talking about Hank Aaron. Those are the type of guys you miss when they're gone. Like Gary V. I don't know if everybody knows who Gary Vaynerchuk is. But he always talks about living your life for the funeral. Who is going to be there? You want to have as many people. You want to impact the lives of the people around you. You want to always add value, and that's one thing that Kobe really left behind.
Thank you. It was great starting with you. We're gonna go to Hammer and then come back to Hank.
Well, I would like to pretext and just say that when I heard Kobe passed away, I thought it was TMZ or some false report because, put its perspective, one of my best friends, law school I've known since 1996, Caesar Stinson, the day before was killed in a car crash in Milwaukee, Wisconsin by a sheriff's deputy who now has been convicted, thank goodness, of running a red light and killing him and a young woman in his car. So I was reeling from that. And to wake up the next day and to see the Kobe Bryan and my phone blowing up and then, going to try to find alternative media to disprove another tragedy of another Black man 2 days in a row was sobering to me. Kobe Bryant, Kobe Bryant was a masterful person who, one, believed in himself. The fact that he came from Lower Merion High School, went to the NBA, really believed in himself, also changed his look from the bald to, bushy hair to bald again. And also, I'm going to bring up bad things, but it's overcoming adversity. So I'm going to say when he had the unfortunate charge that affected his life and almost, cost him a major part of his life, he was able to reinvent himself and I think really change the way he approached life and people. And so to see, again, I'll be blunt with you. I was not impressed with Kobe. I thought he was a very arrogant individual before the case, but his I think his awakening in the fact that he had a flash, or a brush with, basically his career being ended. I think really, my understanding in researching made him really understand and value the game. And for instance, I saw him play the Bucks when he was under the charge, and he was skinny. He played awful. He was with Shaq, and so you just knew it was affecting him. And then eventually he got, but to see how he was mentoring the young man and all the people, that's really that blew me away. Because I mean, I knew about what he was doing. I was really excited about the things he was going to do. They related to the Oscars and his production, and what he was going to do post basketball. He's such a talented young man, but how he became a family man too as well. And the fact he died with his daughter, taking his daughter to a game, was very profound. And so that's really, again, the most sad thing about it is this is a guy who really transformed himself to the icon he was, and sadly died too soon. Because again, sadly, air, the pilot's going to get sued, whatever. But yeah, it's a shame. But I put in perspective, like I said, of my brother Caesar Stinson, who lost his life too soon due to a crash, and then Kobe Bryan lost his life too soon due to pilot error, and really, like I said, robbed us of somebody who was going to really groom these young players because they really believed in him. He really, again, captivated. He had the Duke connection. Even though he go to college, he had connections to all these young brothers that really believed in him. And he was like, the modern day Jordan to them because, they didn't grow up a Mike like we did. So this is a guy they saw in 5 chips with same coach, Phil Jackson, and winning, and like I said, his legacy, winning 2 chips without Shaq, just showed how great he was. And in his last game, 60 points, an 81-point game, they're talking about as well. This guy, like I said, it's just sad he's gone. Like Darnell said, we started the year, like I said, seeing Caesar funeralized in Milwaukee, and then all of a sudden COVID hit about a month later. And we're in right now, and hopefully we can get on the other side of this pandemic. But yeah, that's the thing that really, I think really was proud of me, that seeing the loss of a friend, dear friend, and then comparing it to the loss of somebody who I never met, I saw him play, and I affected people's lives, just went from micro to macro in 24 hours. It was just, it was numbing. It's overwhelming. It was numbing because I just, like I said, I looked at my phone. I was just trying to find different, different things. I'm like, this can't be. And then my friends talking about they just lost it, and yeah, just trying to, but then realize, no, this is true. He was gone, and then the fact his daughter too. I was just like, man, his daughter. So I wanted to be him, who was probably a great WNBA player, and yeah, it just. Because Caesar was a father, great grandfather, just great person, and so yeah, seeing Caesar and people didn't know, and as well as Kobe, and they were dichotomous to me because they happened like back to back, and really just sobering as far as the whole year, as Darnell said, just set the tone for the whole year, basically. Yeah. So.
All right. I think you hit on some interesting. I mean, it's making those kind of connections. Hank,
I think that, just briefly, that what happened with Kobe Bryant a year ago really set the tone for what's one of the worst years I've ever experienced in my entire life. I won't forget that Sunday, and getting that news. And, Sundays are time for family. And to find out that this had happened. And then I'm just like with what Hammer said, you're looking at all these news outlets, looking for it to be a hoax, praying for it to be a hoax, which kind of lets you know that it became not just another basketball player losing his life. Kobe Bryant proved himself to be more than that. And it wasn't the name on the front of the jersey that you remember the man about, but the name is on the back, Bryant. And what he did become after he stopped playing. And it was interesting to see what he was doing. And he was getting interest of people who were just either casual NBA fans. not necessarily a Kobe Bryant fan, but, you know, because of the other things that he was doing. It was a remarkable tragedy. It was a historic tragedy. And unfortunately, it happened in one of the most tragic years that we have ever experienced in our lifetime.
Yeah, and I would like to, you know, add on to it. I mean, the role he played in, you know, definitely sparked by the interest of his daughter, and also elevating women's basketball, and the way in which the women in college basketball and WNBA responded to his loss, and talked about ways in which he mentored and to cross the boundaries and to be that ambassador, right? Given the journey that he traveled and the situations he found himself in as it relates to relationships and things in Colorado, and how he rebuilt himself and invested in his family, and just what he always, I think, represented was how you fight through failure, right?
Mm-hmm.
You continue to persist,
Great.
and rather than just succumb to it, right? And sometimes I could feel like you kind of bigger in life, like nothing's gonna take this man down, right? When you score 60 in your last game, that's telling you you're not done, right? That he has such a strong kind of mental focus in terms of doing it, and how he was able to then breathe that out. It's one thing to have it yourself, but then to figure out how do you replicate that in others and help to inspire others is another thing. And he was moving into that direction. And so, you know, he's someone that, along with others that we've lost, who we'll always draw inspiration from. And so I'm glad we're able to spend time here to reflect on Hank Aaron, who is an incredible person in the impact of Kobe Bryan on many lives, and of us, in his case, someone who died entirely too soon, with a lot of life left to go. So we'll end it. We're here with our man Hank, who can drop the mic for us.
Okay, thank you guys. Again, another great night of talking and talking sports and other things. Listen, tonight, I want to take the time. We talked a little bit about Kobe Bryant. We talked a little bit about Hank Aaron. I want to spend tonight, drop the mic, to have you express. I want to talk about greatness, and have you to embrace greatness. I want you to think about something. Now, we just talked about Kobe Bryant, a great career. We talk about Hammer. We'll talk all day and most of next week about Michael Jordan and those 6 championships. Okay, I can do the same thing about the great Pistons teams. Good teams, great teams. But I want to take a moment to talk about greatness. And I'm talking about consistency. We talked about Hank Aaron, 755 home runs. Hank Aaron, like I told you before, maybe only 40, 45 home runs every year, just very consistent. Tom Brady with the Tampa Bay Bucks will be going to his 10th Super Bowl. 10th Super Bowl. Now, I want to put that into perspective, okay? In the NHL, there was one player, Henri Richard, who won 10 Stanley Cup championships. Bill Russell won 11 NBA championships. Yogi Berra won 11 World Series championships. We're talking about over 50 years ago, sometimes 70 years ago, with all of these players that this happened. We are in the modern day, and we're watching Tom Brady. Now, it doesn't matter if you was a New England Patriots fan or if you're a Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan. The fact is, you have an opportunity to witness greatness. You have an opportunity to say that once, you know, when you're young as age, when you get my age, if you're lucky enough, that I watched this man play. And I actually said that they won in spite of him, even though he went to his 10th Super Bowl. Next week is going to be a very difficult time for me because I love Patrick Mahomes, but I also respect the greatness of Tom Brady. I'm not here to pump Tom Brady. I'm here for you I'm here to tell you to embrace greatness. It's something to see. It's something to witness. It's something to marvel. It's something to look at. Why is that? Because as I just said before, you don't see it all the time. And with our great ones leaving here so soon, the memories they leave behind, you might want to write down and remember.
Blog Talk Radio.
This thing right here is for my peoples in the streets.
Yes, today.
Blog Talk Radio.